from the Matt Morris Digital Studio here in Fresno, California. This is the Beem and Dean Show, episode 89. Scotty, crazy weekend. We had the Super Bowl. Any quick thoughts really quick before we get into the details of the game?
Congratulations to the Seahawks. Wasn't the greatest game, Dean. Let's be honest. Sometimes the Super Bowls live up to the hype, and sometimes they don't. And I think this one didn't really live up to the hype.
Yeah, anyway, all right. Well, like I said, my weekend, I just want to get into one thing, your show, something really quick. A special night on Friday for us. Our oldest son, Joey.
Yeah!
There it is, senior night at San Joaquin Memorial. The Panthers got a nice 3-0 win over the Madera Coyotes. It was really, really cool night. It was a special night, obviously. I tell Scotty all the time, he's got 2 younger kids. This goes super fast. So just a really special weekend. After that, we traveled to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo for an ID camp over the weekend, which was really good. You got a lot of really, really valuable knowledge. You got to be with the actual players on the team and the coaches. So it was a really, really, really cool time and a special night for us. So I just want to mention congrats, Joe. Super proud of you. And Scotty, it's going to happen quick to you too. So.
By the way, I love the soccer.
We've got a parent, Dave Mock, who runs the soccer program. He's our announcer. He gave us a cat. We have the beanies, and we have the memorial scarves. So the fathead's courtesy of Mom Julie, and she also made the Schiro 5. So
what a good-looking, athletic young man there, Dean. And
we're hopeful. We're hopeful that he could turn that into something.
Is he planning on playing beyond?
He wants to play at the collegiate level.
Okay.
He really does. So fingers crossed. We'll see. So. But, we had a great weekend, and then obviously the Super Bowl yesterday. So did you do anything on a personal level on the weekend, anything fun? Or I know you had a busy work weekend, so.
Yeah, trying to think. I went out and hit some golf balls for the first time in a while, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Kind of figured it out on the range. Had a little fun at just a little Super Bowl gathering with some friends of ours, and so it was basically another couple and some kids, and so that was fun.
Scotty and I actually both worked last night. We both did the 9 o'clock KSEE show. So Scotty was my sports guy, and it was a good show, really, really good show. I was a little nervous because we had the Olympics in front of it. The game went long. I wasn't sure what time our newscast was going to hit. Our master control in Denver wasn't quite sure what time the game was going to hit. So I was trying to get Emily and Eric and AJ in place, and thank God everything worked out really good. So, all right, let's get back to this game. So Super Bowl 60, Santa Clara. It wasn't the best game. From a defensive standpoint, though, I was really impressed with Seattle. They really shut that team out really for 3.5 quarters, So the pressure they were able to get on Drake May and make him make mistakes, really the way that the New England offensive line wasn't able to, A, run up the middle, and B, protect the edges in particular. The safety blitz, the corner blitzes out on the edges. But it was a heck of a game. Heck of a atmosphere. Yeah,
the Super Bowl is always a spectacle, right? So, even if the game is not great, it's a spectacle. It kind of got sort of maybe a little more interesting for just a brief period there, in the fourth quarter after the Patriots scored, but that was quickly, wiped away. I think we said it, right, that the Patriots had not been playing great offensively at all in the playoffs. In fact, the fact that they were in the Super Bowl, considering how they had played offensively in the lead up to that game, was pretty amazing. I thought that they'd play better, in the Super Bowl. I thought at some point that, that offense would show a little bit more, but they couldn't give May the time to throw that he needed in the first half. And then I think in the second half, there were some opportunities there for Drake May and the Patriots. Yeah. Well, on a couple plays, he didn't get rid of it. I think he started to look to run a little bit, and which I kind of anticipated. That's why I took the Drake May over rushing prop.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it was not easy to run against that defense. And there were some opportunities there. But if you're the Patriots in that game and you're going up against that kind of defense and you fall behind, and the Seahawks play clean football, even if they're not playing incredible football offensively, they're playing clean football and they're getting something out of the running game with Kenneth Walker. Well, you're going to need to play clean football. And they didn't. The Patriots did not do it. A couple of big mistakes. And, unfortunately, it just kind of turned into a game that was pretty much, you kind of felt like it was decided about mid third quarter, even though for a minute there, you gave the Patriots a little hope.
Yeah, the turnovers that turned into touchdowns were really big. I mean, the one where he held it, he could have let it go, and he collapses, the ball goes flying, and then they run it back. That was pretty much the backbreaker right there, right?
And I think we saw kind of the maturity of Sam Darnold too, because Sam didn't play an incredible game, but he didn't do anything that hurt his team either. And I think knowing how the game is going, how the game flow is going, and that your goal is to win the game. It's not necessarily to put up a ton of points. You want to win the game, win the Super Bowl. I think Sam kind of felt it early that, you know what, the Patriots are going to struggle to score in this game. So let's not do anything like silly to give them short fields or maybe a pick six or a strip sack or any of that stuff, right? And that ended up working out. Whereas the Patriots kind of playing from behind, you saw Drake May starting to kind of press a little bit, trying to maybe make something where it wasn't there, right?
Yeah, especially that interception where you just threw it up in the air in the middle of the field,
Yeah, that was the biggest one. That one was bad.
Yeah, because, I mean, they still had hope at that point, a limited hope, but they had a little bit of hope. So, in terms of Seattle, though, I mean, I was a little surprised that they kind of stalled out in the first half, because as a Rams fan, I'm not used to Seattle stalling out against against a good defense like that. They've been pushing and getting the ball in the end zone. So to settle for the 3 field goals at the half, they're up 9-0, and then 12-0 after 3. They weren't able to just kind of finish drives. But you're right, Darnold did not make the big mistake like he's made in other games they've lost this year. But it was just it was a serviceable performance. Kenneth Walker III was the MVP, well deserved. He was really, really good. And then Cooper Kupp, just. As a Rams fan, I was appreciative of Cooper Kupp. I hated that we let him go. I hated that he went to either Seattle or the Niners. Those are the 2 teams I didn't want him to go to. Of course, he goes to Seattle, but he wins his second Super Bowl, and his hands are just so good. When you need a big catch, on second or third down, he was just really, really good.
Well, sometimes you could use the analogy, right, of match play in golf. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't have to play that great to win in match play. If you're just better than your opponent that day, sometimes you lose a match play match where you shoot 8 under because your opponent shoots 9 under. Sometimes you win when you shoot 2 over because your opponent shoots 3 over, right? I think the Seahawks just did enough to beat the Patriots. And that's what this game was about in the end, is that unfortunately the Patriots did not bring the type of performance they needed to bring to ultimately beat the Seahawks. I think the defense played well enough to keep them in the game. But, you were going to have to play much cleaner football, and you're going to have to get a few more big plays, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, let's talk about that for just a second. That New England defense was really, really good. I mean, Christian Gonzalez in particular, I got to see him firsthand as a Colorado Buffalo, then he went to Oregon. But he had a couple huge pass breakups that would have been touchdowns. There was one to Smith-Njigba that was right there, and he just literally threw his hand up at the last second and knocked it away. So they really held him in the game. They gave him a chance, at least, that defense, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you think about it, it was still only a 12-0 game after 3 quarters. I mean, you're not going to win a football game if you can't score, right? At some point, you got to put points on the board, and it just, what was it, like 50 or 60 yards of total offense for the Patriots in the first half?
Yeah.
I mean, look, that Seattle defense is good. I'm not trying to discount it, but we've seen teams move the ball on them. The Rams have moved the ball on them, at times. So you can move the ball on them. And in the second half, especially when I kind of got a closer look at the game, doing some work here for some, a lot of the first half, monitoring it, but not like totally dialed in. In the second half, when I was dialed in, there were opportunities there for Drake May and the Patriots. If you go back and look at a couple of the Skycam plays, there were some guys coming open when he still had time that he wasn't able to find, and threw a couple of balls a little off target as well. So, those opportunities are there. It just shows you, I mean, it's not a big sample size. One football game is not a big sample size. I mean, you got to make the plays when they're there, when they, in the moment, in the pressure situations. And, the moment was just a little too big for Drake May. I'm sure he'll, continue to be a playoff team. Though I don't know if they'll get back to the Super Bowl, but the Patriots obviously are a team on the rise, so I wouldn't be surprised if Drake May gets another opportunity at some point in his career, and this one's going to stick with him, and that he's going to want to have a chance at redemption.
And that's what makes football so unique. It's not a best of 3, it's not a best of 5, it's not a best of 7. You get one shot. You either win or you don't. So, it was a great performance by Seattle overall. Mike McDonald, really, really good. It's exciting for him, to win the Super Bowl as such a young guy. Next year, let's look ahead here. Who do we like?
Let's already start looking ahead.
We're a betting show.
Wait, do you have any odds, by the way, for next year yet?
I can get it for you really quick, but when I look those up, who do you like so far for next year? Your early thoughts?
Early thoughts? I like the Rams. What do you think, Dean?
I'm with you, baby. I'm with you.
Don't you like the Rams? I like the Rams. All right, so the Rams, obviously, that's not like a huge sleeper pick. I'm trying to think maybe, of somebody who maybe could be a sleeper, at some point. What about the Chargers with Mike McDaniel now as their offensive coordinator? That'd be an interesting pick. They're a team that's been there. They've got the quarterback. They've got the head coach, seemingly. They just need to take that next step. It feels like we've been saying that for years and years and years. But okay, so I'm going to go with the Rams as kind of my chalk pick.
Okay.
And I'm going to take the Chargers as a sleeper without really thinking about it too much.
Chargers, it looks like. So here's the top 10 for next year. Seattle and the Rams are both plus 950. The Buffalo Bills are plus 1,100. The Philadelphia Eagles are plus 1,300. The New England Patriots and Baltimore Ravens are also plus 1,300. The Green Bay Packers, the Detroit Lions are plus 1,400. And the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers are plus 1,500. So there's your top 10 right now for the 2027 Super Bowl at SoFi in LA. I'm excited about the Rams. I was excited to hear Stafford's coming back. I've had some criticisms on him, but I really liked his speech at the NFL Honors. He's fired up. Team's fired up to have him. So I'm gonna throw all the chips in the middle of the table. I might try to throw something early, maybe get that 950.
We got a consensus play here from Beem and Dean on the Rams.
We sometimes have consensus plays.
Did you say the Chargers and the Chiefs have the same odds?
They do, plus 1,500.
Okay, so which team would you rather have?
Oh, man.
That seems pretty high for the Chiefs, doesn't it? 15 to 1?
I agree, because we also, do we know what Kelsey's status is for next year?
Not yet.
Yeah, we don't know, do we?
I know he's playing golf at the Phoenix Open over the weekend.
Yes, he is. We're going to talk about the Phoenix Open in just a minute. So, with that being said, it's time for Scotty and I to do what we always do. We come in hot. All right, Scotty, I'm going to go first on coming hot because mine's Super Bowl related. And I'm really surprised that I'm talking about this, but I thought it was something that needed to be said. Scotty, the last Spanish I had was in high school. And I didn't understand half of what Bad Bunny said in his halftime performance. But I have to say, his halftime performance was amazing. Even with my limited Spanish, the culture that was presented at halftime was beautiful. And I also want to make a point that you don't also need a bunch of lasers and fireworks and pyrotechnics and crazy stuff to have a beautiful message and moment. I thought that was just a really powerful message about Latin culture, Puerto Rican culture. I thought the way it was shot was beautiful. And someone told me that even the bushes and stuff on the side were human beings. They were most of them were human beings acting as bushes when they were coming through. I had no clue. But I just thought it was really well done. I just wanted to give my shout out to Bad Bunny because I thought he did a great job. Didn't get super political. He made a message of love and not hate. Who could argue against that? So I just wanted to kind of give him his props there. I thought it was great.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the bushes because when they first were setting up, right? And you saw the bushes, they started moving, and I went, I think there are people in those bushes. I
didn't see them setting up because I was on my way down to the station. I watched the first half at home, and then I had to get down here for the pizza guy for the station, so we made sure we had food. But go ahead and fill me in a little bit more.
Well, so here's the thing with halftime shows with me, right? It's a show, right? It's a show. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily, hey, do I like this guy's music or that? It's a halftime show, and I think that's sometimes what people miss because they want to be critical of the song choice or this or that or everything else. I look at it and say, was I entertained? Did it capture my attention? And in this case, it did. It was a fun party vibe, Latin vibe, some fun movements going around, people dancing, everybody else. Good. Yeah, it kind of puts you in a good mood, I would say, watching it. And so
especially after that first half of that game.
Exactly. So yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was I just thought it was a good show. And that's really how I judge it, is that, was I entertained?
I just know a lot of people were critical of the selection and what is he going to do. And I honestly just went into it with an open mind, which I always try to do. But I thought it was beautiful. I really did. So, all right, Scotty's going to talk about Lindsey Vonn and the Olympic Games a little bit. So, fire away.
All right, my coming in hot's on Lindsey Vonn. Okay, first off, I just want to say we wish Lindsey a speedy recovery. Hope Hope that she's doing
Fill
well.
people in who don't know what happened to her.
Yeah, so Lindsey Vonn in her Olympic downhill run, she had ruptured her ACL, I think about a week ago or so in a crash. She still decided to ski and look good in training runs. I mean, she posted the third best time in the final training run, so she was clearly able to get down the mountain, you know, in a very speedy way.
It's so hard to believe.
Yeah, in an amazing way. But then in her downhill run, you get one shot at it in the downhill. 14 seconds in, she hit a gate, probably a gate that if she ran this course 1,000 times, she would never hit again. Threw her off balance, landed awkwardly, and apparently she fractured her leg, was airlifted out of there, and just a horrible scene. You hate to see that,
Absolutely.
in the Olympics.
Right.
Here's my coming in hot, something I'm hot about, hot take. Since then, now we're starting to hear everybody say, should she have been skiing? Like, was this, you know, was she taking away an opportunity from somebody else maybe in the field, or you know, was she putting herself at an unnecessary risk? My answer to that is no. Everybody, understand this sport. Understand Olympic downhill. Understand Lindsey Vonn. Lindsey Vonn is someone who goes 180% at everything she does. She takes chances in the downhill. She's, you know, trying to be as tight as she can on every gate. You saw it in the starting gate with how she just like is building herself up into a mental focus that you wouldn't believe.
Sure.
This is part of the sport. She was totally capable of skiing. She was totally capable of winning a gold medal if she pulls off the run she's hoping to do. To me, this is Olympic pressure. And this is what happens when, you know, you have one opportunity every 4 years in one run to win a gold medal. Weird things happen sometimes. We saw it happen to Michaela Schifrin in the last Olympic Games. But no, should she have been skiing? Absolutely. The doctors cleared her. She was third best time in the training run. She was still probably the gold medal favorite. I didn't look at the odds, you know, like on my phone, you know, going into it. But my guess is she would have at least, if not the favorite, would have been on the short list of favorites. She was more than capable of skiing that day. And this is just part of what goes into being a ski racer. You hate to see it, but whether she should have been out there or not is not a question.
Yeah, no, I love her courage. I love the fact that she went for it. I'm just sad that she got hurt, and hopefully she recovers quickly. They said that she's stable. You know, she's already had surgery, so we wish her a speedy recovery, and we appreciate her effort. So let's just talk about the Olympics in general really quick before we get to the Phoenix Open. So far, a pretty good start for Team USA. You know, they won the team gold for figure skating. The women's hockey team's off to a great start. I saw the mixed curling this morning. They got a huge win over Italy. You know, they were a huge underdog there. They had already lost earlier in the day, so that was kind of cool. So what are your thoughts so far on the Olympic Games?
Always nice, right? To wake up on a Monday and be able to turn on some Olympic curling, by the way, Dean.
It's just great to have sports on a Monday during the day, honestly. It's just great. You know?
I
love the Olympics.
I could watch curling for hours on
too.
end. It's kind of fascinating. It's like giant shuffleboard on ice, basically. You know, and then I got my wife telling me this morning, hey, what happens if the sweeper hits the rock? You know, and I don't technically know, but I think it's just a dead rock and they take it out of play if that happens. Yeah, because they get so close to that thing.
Yeah, I believe so. I think there's some sort of penalty or something there. But good start for Team USA. I taped the opening ceremony. I saw parts of it. It looked beautiful. Italy, I think, is doing a great job. Our own Angelique Martinez is doing a great job over there, giving reports. Anything else? That's tricky on the Olympics real quick?
Yeah, here's the great thing about the Winter Olympics, if you want to say great thing. To me, why it is kind of more interesting is that the United States doesn't dominate in the Winter Olympics. So in the Summer Olympics, we're always going to have gold medals like every single night for Americans. You have a bunch of swimming events. You get a bunch of track and field events. You know, you got things that the Americans are winning medals all the time. First off, there aren't that many medals in the Winter Olympics. They've added more and more with all the snowboarding and all this stuff. But it creates a little bit more tension to me because when the Americans do win a gold, you know, it's very meaningful, right? And so for Breezy Johnson to win that gold in the downhill, that was a really cool story, by the way. Hate to see that it kind of got overshadowed a little bit by Lindsay stuff, but, you know, hey, you know, congratulations to Breezy Johnson.
Her performance was great.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you got these other cool events, you know, in the Winter Olympics. Stuff that I really like, you know, I'm kind of like a guy who's done some wakeboarding, done some snowboarding, some skiing, like in my life. And I kind of I've watched the X Games a lot,
Sure.
growing up in Orange County. And like I love stuff like parallel giant slalom and the snowboarding last night.
Yeah.
Like I love watching that stuff. Guys completely, and girls, laid out completely on the snow, on their snowboard, cruising around. And then watching like something like the Big Air.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? Like what they're doing, with regards to these things? It's unreal, like how high they're going full speed down at this gigantic, like jump. Yeah. And they go off of it. And I think they said that it was I think it was the women's Big Air last night, that this one girl or one woman who was in it, that they were traveling more than 100 feet in the air going off this, doing flip after flip after flip. Yeah.
I was watching the luge yesterday. I mean, those guys, they have no protection whatsoever. One bad edge, they're going 70 miles per hour down that hill. One bad edge, and God, oh my God. And my son Nick's like, I can do that. I'd love to do that. I'm like, no, let's not do that. So, but I've been enjoying it so far. I'm glad we get 2 more weeks of it. So let's talk really quick before money plays. We got the Phoenix Open happening this weekend. Is it still the Waste Management Open?
Yeah.
It is? Okay, I wasn't sure. But the question of the day kind of Scotty posed, and it's a good question. Is the Waste Management Open the best tournament, not a major, on the PGA Tour? What are your thoughts?
It's starting to get there, Dean. It's getting really darn close. I tell you, I mean, the Players' Championship obviously carries a lot of prestige. I would take the Phoenix Open over any one of the FedEx Cup events at this point. Okay. The only thing that hurts the Phoenix Open a little bit is that it's not an elevated event. And so you still don't have Rory, in this event. You have some other big names, European guys especially, who, don't seem to play in this event for whatever reason. Some guys just don't really want to have to, be engaged in that atmosphere. I think if they don't have to.
So those of you who haven't watched, it's more like a football game. The crowds actually will cheer and get really loud. And in golf, it's supposed to be a silent kind of game. But at the Waste Management, man, there's a par 3. If you don't hit the green, man, they almost start throwing beer cans.
Yeah, you're getting booed. And I mean, the 16th hole. I mean, to me, it's what a cool thing that has developed there. And I thought I didn't see a ton of it, but what I did watch, I didn't hear any stories about things being overly out of control like it got a couple years ago. I think it was good old-fashioned cheering and noise, and the crowd was somewhat well-behaved this year, which is great to see because you don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose that uniqueness of that hole, and walking into that, into that stadium feel and teeing off and having the crowd going nuts. But at the same time, there's a line there that like last year and maybe the year before was sort of getting crossed with the crowd. Yeah. And I think they've kind of found the nice balance there. Yeah. And, but yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if we should make this a signature event, right? Yeah. The Phoenix Open and try to get Rory to come there. That would be awesome. Yeah. If we could get, maybe some of these live guys who are coming back, Kepka, I know played in it this year. He did. Bryson DeChambeau getting into that stadium center would be cool.
He would love that. But Scotty played this last weekend. I just love the whole Western swing to start the year off. I mean, Kapalua, Honolulu, Palm Springs, San Diego, Riviera, Pebble Beach, Phoenix. It's just that whole Western swing is just so great. I mean, it's really hard to pick and choose which one you like the best, but the atmosphere is very cool at the Waste Management.
It is, and it's funny because Pebble's been elevated now. And I get it. The course obviously deserves to be like more prestigious. The tournament should be more prestigious, considering that you're playing, the final round at Pebble Beach. I know they mix in some other courses there too. I think they play the 2 courses
Spyglass
now.
And Poppy.
Spyglass and I think you're right. I think you're right because I know they've changed. I used
to live there. So,
they used to definitely play Spyglass and it was Monterey Peninsula Country Club. Right. Now because they've it's an elevated event now, and so the amateur thing isn't as. They still have some amateurs, I think, who play.
It's a pro-am still.
But it's not as featured as it once was. And when they get to the weekend, it's all at Pebble. And and that's, to me, that's cool as a golf guy, because I've been out to Pebble a bunch of times. Who knows, I might even go this week, maybe on a Friday.
Nice.
We're still figuring it out. But
Bemis family plans.
Maybe. Anyway, so but I think it's really cool that that's been elevated. At the same time, though, I feel like the Phoenix Open, maybe it doesn't need to be elevated because maybe it just exists on its own and it's just an awesome thing and I shouldn't worry about it. But it's just funny to me that it's not actually a signature event, yet to me, it's probably the best non-major golf tournament that exists.
It's great. And it leads right into the Super Bowl. they wrap up about 3 o'clock Pacific, and then you go right into the pregame. Everything's timed really, really well that way.
It's funny when they have a playoff, though, because they've had a playoff there,
yeah.
and it's bled into the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I found myself watching the playoff over the Super Bowl a couple of years.
I remember Scotty versus Thagala a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They were going neck and neck. So it's a fun event. I mean, I'm just glad golf is back. It's great. So, all right, well, let's get into our money plays. All right, it's time for money plays. Scotty and I, we start with $1,000 every month in fictitious money, and we place our wagers on all kinds of stuff. And so far Scotty's off to a much better start than yours truly is. So let's take a look. Scotty currently, he went 1 for 3 from last Thursday's plays. He got badly edged out on the Drake May over 37.5 rushing yards. If I told you that Drake May ended up with 37, went over 37, and a penalty brought the run back. Scotty, go for it.
Yeah, that one hurt. I had chalked it up. I think I couldn't remember what I had. I thought I saw that Drake May was on 37 after that scramble in the second half.
Yep.
And but I thought maybe I did have 37.5, and so I thought I needed another run, and then he goes for a gain of like 5 or 6, and I got up to leave because I had to get back to the station.
Sure. Yep.
And then I turned around and I saw that they were calling it off because of a penalty. So that one hurt a little bit, but I got the St. John's there, and Carolina ended up winning outright, which was cool.
That was a hell of a finish too. Carolina beating Duke on the last second 3. Yep.
New England ended up being the wrong side on that one. And UCSB, I was surprised. Did not come with a good effort at UC Davis the other night. Cal State Fullerton did get there. So, all right. So this week I only got one play here. Monday it's pretty light at this point. But I'm gonna stick with my college basketball teaser plays here.
Parlay King of Fresno, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm gonna move this 4 points here. Xavier, I'm gonna take them getting nearly 20 points at St. John's tonight. You saw that I had St. John's against UConn. Well, coming off a huge, dramatic, emotional win on a Friday night against UConn.
Yep.
So now you go into the weekend. I'm sure they're just kind of enjoying the fruits of their labor, going to Super Bowl parties. Woo, the number 1 team in the country, or one of the top teams in the country. And I don't think that they're going to be playing with the type of edge that they played against UConn tonight against Xavier. Do I think they're going to beat Xavier?
Yes.
Here's the other reason.
You're getting almost 20.
I'm getting almost 20 points. Xavier is struggling a little bit this year, but they're still a Big East team. Mm-hmm. They're still probably a top, 120 team in the country.
Yep.
And here's the kicker, Dean. This is a matchup of dad versus son here. You got Rick Pitino of St. John's and Richard Pitino of Xavier. Do you think that Rick Pitino is going to try to run up the score on his son?
He better not.
Yeah.
Not if he wants to be invited to Thanksgiving dinner this year by his wife.
Yeah, I think if he's up like 20 in the second half, he's pulling the starters with 5 minutes to go, and you'll finish with like a 15-point game if it is at that point, right? So that's why I like getting the 19.5.
Yep.
And then Oregon played a lot better over the weekend at Purdue.
Right.
They hung in there with the Boilermakers, and I just think getting almost 15 points, they're going to play with some pride. Always dangerous to have a road team in the Big Ten. I know, especially a team that's been struggling, but I had to find somebody.
Yep.
And so I figure 14.5 should be enough at Indiana tonight.
Scotty, I've been ice cold. I mean, I went 2 for 9. The only thing I barely hit was the Lakers. They won by 4 against Philly that night. So everything else kind of came up badly. I did hit the Super Bowl prop, though, the jersey number that we showed at the Fairway Lounge yesterday, for those who were watching on the pregame show. I did hit it. Varner was the first touchdown scorer. He wears number 88. So the jersey number, first touchdown score, was over 10.5. So my 25, I got turned into 40, let's just say. So, all right, I got a bunch of plays today. Got a little bit of time to talk about them. So, got a $10 NBA parlay, all money line favorites: Heat, Magic, Timberwolves, Pelicans, Warriors, Thunder. The Thunder go to LA tonight, play the Lakers. Give me the Thunder minus 3.5. I bought that line down a little bit because it was up to, I think, 7.5. So, trying to play safe there. I got another one. One I want to go to is number 4 because I have the same idea you do. Give me Oregon plus 10.5 at Indiana. Oregon was competitive this last weekend at Purdue. Arizona minus 1.5 at Kansas. Arizona's the number 1 team in the country. Let's see if they prove it. And then Xavier plus 15.5. Great minds think alike. We didn't even talk about this play. So
I don't mind taking what you took. Just taking Oregon and Xavier straight with the points as well.
A couple Olympic hockeys really quick. Canada women minus 2.5 goals playing right now against Czech Republic. And then tomorrow, U.S. women money line against Canada.
Yeah, some Olympic plays from Dino.
All right,
that way. I want a skeleton play from Dean on the next show. Can you give it to me?
I'll give you a skeleton. We'll see if I can get one. So we'll be back on Thursday. Thanks for watching. On behalf of Scott, I'm Dean. This has been the Beem and Dean Show.